Hello and welcome to the next installment of our SarahTech enablement series. My name is Andrea Hall and I am the Marketing Operations Manager here at SarahTech, and I will be your host today. Presenting today we have Jason West. He is a project manager here at SarahTech, and he'll be teaching you a little bit about sketching and drafting in NX CAD. First, I want to tell you a little bit about the SarahTech enablement series that we've had great success with so far. We have these free online trainings on the first and third Thursday of each month at 11 a.m. Pacific. We usually run about 30 to 45 minutes or so, and our training is always led by subject matter experts. And we cover topics including FEMAP, NX, Solid Edge, Team Center, and much, much more. Our goal for the SarahTech enablement series is to help you get the most out of your software. So really we'd like to just share knowledge amongst each other and to build a community of users that'll help empower each other. As always, this is an open forum, and we look forward to you participating in this training with us. So if you have any questions or comments during the presentation, please go ahead and type them over in the chat box to the right. You'll see that in your GoToWebinar panel. And I'll kindly interrupt Jason and let him know about your comments and questions and hopefully get those answered right away. And with that, I will pass it over to Jason.
Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jason West. I'm a project manager here at SarahTech, as well as probably many of you folks or have the potential of meeting you folks through services and through any questions and answers you may have. So diving in today, we're going to take a look at some of the new items that came out in the NX11 release. We're going to focus on taking a look at Sketcher and some of the drafting features that were added in the latest release. So taking a look here at starting with the Sketcher, we're going to take a look at the new scale around sketch origin with the driving the first dimension. So really what this does is this allows you to potentially bring in a drawing. You're not sure of what the scale of the drawing was. Maybe you're getting it from a vendor or a customer, and you want to verify. So what we can do with NX is take that first dimension and actually drive the whole scale of the print to that dimension. So if you have a known dimension, we can do that. And then we'll take a look at the new relation browser, so that way we can understand what relationships have been put into our models. So let's go ahead and jump into NX. Switch over screens here. All right, so we have this model. This came from a supplier. We're not sure if it's the correct scale. So what we want to do is we actually want to go in and utilize scaling this to the first dimension. So maybe we know that the diameter of this hole is 2 inches, and then we can use that to drive the rest of our geometry. So we're going to jump into the sketch properties. We're going to jump into the sketch here. See, I'm in Gateway. Always pay attention to what application you're in. So I'm going to jump into the sketch and want to make sure that I know what the scale of this is. So I'm going to check one of the options for my preferences to make sure that I have everything set up. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply the first dimension. That's going to be this inside ring. Now it's saying it's 143 millimeters. Maybe I know what the inch equivalent is. So we're going to go ahead and make that 2 inches. In case you didn't know, you can apply inch to metric conversion, metric to inch, So if your drawing is a metric drawing and you know what the inch equivalent is supposed to be, instead of 50.8, I can put in here 2 inches so I know that I'm getting the correct value. And when I do that, you see the whole entire drawing scaled. Just because I knew what the dimension was, and I was able to get in there and put that dimension in, and then the rest of my drawing scaled. So now when I go in and put in the rest of my dimensions, I know that they're going to be correct. This goes the same when you're drawing a new piece of geometry. When you go and sometimes you're not paying attention when you're drawing, you just want to get the geometry layout there, and then you realize that you made it double the size it's supposed to be, and you go and put that first dimension on there, and all of a sudden you're drawing, maybe it's some odd shape, you don't get the reaction you thought you'd get. The line gets real short, but your holes are still now outside instead of being inside the part because there was no associativity or you didn't put any dimensions on that prior to it. So this allows you to scale that whole entire drawing, which makes it a lot easier. So now that we have that, we're going to look at this, and I want to go into my relation browser. So this is also new in NX11. This is going to show me all the curves that I have in this sketch, all the arcs, lines, and so on, circles, splines. Then I go and take a look at constraints. I see, well, right now there's only one dimension in there. So I know that I don't have any constraints on here because, again, this was an imported drawing. So I'm going to go in and apply some relationships. So I'm going to do an auto constrain. Look for horizontal, vertical, tangent, parallel, perpendicular. Turn off collinear, concentric. Then just go ahead and select my part. This has been in NX for quite a while. So this isn't anything new, but I want to show the results that we get out of this once we get back over to our relation browser. So we can see all these that have been added, and then we can kind of interrogate what's going on with our model. Maybe we want to make a change, and again, we're not getting the kind of the desired result we were expecting, so we want to go in and see what's actually there. So now we can go through and it'll break it out by constraint and what two elements are in there. And if I zoom up here, you can see that it'll also highlight on the screen so you can see where that's at and what elements are actually attached there. So this is just a nice way to go in and see, to make sure that everything's constrained and then understand how things are constrained inside the sketch. So that's a great new tool inside of NX11. And if you want to see anything outside of this topic, you can always go down to the help and look at the What's New guide. You find that under Menu, Help, and then drive down to What's New. We'll go ahead and bring that up, and you'll be able to walk through, any area that you're looking at. So you want to see what was new in CAD related to sketching, auto dimension enhancements, sketch relation browser, right? We just discussed that particular one there. So this is a great place to go in and dive in and take a look at that. Sometimes there's videos, there's more information that you can pull out on any given topic. Just look over to the right-hand side. It may have more expansive information on this particular item, or maybe it's not quite what you were looking for, but you can definitely use this to drive down and find out more information. One other thing I'd like to point out during tips and tricks, just in case you didn't know, say you want to go back and try to find this relation browser command, definitely use the command finder to help you look for that. So if I look at a browser, I bring that over from my other screen, I can see in here my browser because I'm back in modeling. If I was in Sketch, I can see my Sketch constraint or Sketch relation browser, which was what we were just in, and other options. This is also a great learning tool if you're coming from another CAD program, because you can type in what that item was called inside of the program that you knew and see what it relates to inside of NX. And then if any item is down like in a menu like you see here, you can use the toolbar on the side to add it to any of your tabs or your quick access bar or any of your border panes, border toolbars. So the top border bar, if I had a right or left, right or left toolbar or bottom toolbar turned on, I could add those features there as well. So a great tool. Like I said, I always show this when I'm in training classes, and anytime I get to do a tips and tricks, definitely get in there and show relation or command finder just so people are aware of it. Great tool to use. So moving back over to the presentation, like I said, we looked at the scale around first dimension, first driving dimension. And that's under Sketch Preferences, Session Settings. That will allow you to drive and control that first dimension and scale your whole sketch to kind of get it down to the appropriate size. And then taking a look at the relation browser, giving us the ability to get in there and really take a look at how the model was created. Maybe you want to make some changes, or maybe this is somebody else's drawing that you have to work on, and you want to dive down in there and really understand what is going on with the model, because you need to make some changes, but you don't want your model to blow up completely. Definitely a great tool to have, and get in there and drive down and understand what's going on. So next we're going to take a look at the drafting side. Went a little bit too far. We're going to take a look at the drafting side. So there's a drafting compare functionality where we can do a drawing overlay. And we're also going to take a look at how we can utilize arrangements. I know a lot of people may be unaware what arrangements are, so we'll discuss that a little bit, or how to utilize them. But we've got some new tools when we're getting in and placing arrangements. I'm also going to dive a little deeper into that and show some secondary geometry options that are inside of NX. So let's get in and take a look at the overlay. We also have this new ability to jump through kind of screenshots of what's open in our NX session instead of going up to the window like we traditionally do and picking one from the list, even though we get a little preview. We also have this switch window, or you can hit Control-Tab to get in there as well. So I want to take a look at this drawing. So this is the latest release of my drawing that was sent over to me. I want to make sure that everything's complete, see what was changed from the previous drawing. Maybe this is a checkers roll. They just want to verify what changes were made from one model to the next. I think I see something going on down here that doesn't quite make sense. So what I want to do is I want to go to my Drafting Tools tab and go to my Compare, Drawing Compare group and click on my Visual Overlay. And what I can do here is I can select what I wanted to compare it to. So I also have the A drawing open. So I want to compare it to the A drawing. Go ahead and let that process. And what it's going to do is it's going to give us visual feedback of the actual compare. You will notice that it does pick up all the text because it's looking at line elements, and sometimes you'll see that the text is highlighted just because there might be a slight variation. But we can definitely get in and see, like I thought here, thought something was missing in my drawing, so I can see that this orange outline, orangish reddish outline here is showing me something that is not on this current drawing. It looks like some of the dimensions may have been moved from previous drawings. That's not that big of a deal. You know, this had changed location some. Let's see what else. This was changed from description to, or it was changed, now it's description. I can see that my B is, you know, was an A. So, you know, it gives us visual feedback to quickly get in there and take a look at seeing what has changed from one model or one drawing to the other. Maybe you didn't intend on any certain changes, and when you get in here, it's kind of unexpected, some of the things you saw. So you can, you know, verify and allow you to go back and make changes. Like here, looks like they forgot to add in the assembly. They just added in the one component. So you need to go back and add that in to show it. So great tool, you know, to understand what's changed between one drawing and the next. Next, I want to get into and take a look at, close these. I want to go in and look at arrangements. So how can we place different arrangements? And then, like I said, I'm also going to jump into taking a look at some secondary objects that I can add. But first, let's go in and take a look at selecting some arrangements. So I go into my base view. I set the view orientation that I want. Maybe I set the scale. This looks like a pretty good scale. But what arrangements allows us to do is, I'll move this over a little bit. What arrangements allows us to do is, like, gives us the ability to show internal components. So this arrangement basically has one side of that outside cover turned off. You know, this one, I have parts that are exploded out. Maybe another example of this is I have an open and closed position to demonstrate. So I can use arrangements to show those different configurations or alternate positions. So I'm going to go ahead and place this with the arrangement 1. So I have the full body there. I don't want to place any other views at this time because I want to go in and actually place another arrangement. So all I do is go and select my base view again. I'm going to come down this time. I'm going to say I want the internal housing or the housing internals. Want the same view, want the same scale, because I'm going to bring this down and lock this into place so it's right there with my other drawing, right in line. And then maybe I'll add the third configuration, which is the replaceable parts, and maybe I'm going to pull that off of this this view here, so I have that there. So again, great way to utilize this and show the different configurations that we had, or the different arrangements that we had inside of our assembly. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make some changes to the preferences because I want to be able to show colors. So I'm going to go into my file, right into my drafting preferences, and I'm going to go into my visible lines. I just want to make these black. I'm going to go into my smooth edges and make these black as well. You'll see here what change this is going to make. So I'm going to go ahead and accept that. Now I want to apply it to a view. So I'm just going to go right-click on the border, go into that particular view, and I want to inherit from my load settings. So I go ahead and accept that, and you'll see that that turns black now. Now what I want to do here is I actually want to make, let's see, housing. I want to select that assembly, and I want to make that, select that, and go into the properties. And for the drawing, so I want to make this a secondary geometry, so it's not part of the main part of the geometry. So I right-click, select everything, say I want to make that, or then go right-click and go into properties and make that secondary geometry. One reason I moved this out is because I want to add a new column, and I want to make that secondary geometry. So I can see here in my list what has been turned into secondary geometry. If I pull that out, you can see that that's secondary geometry there. So now the way that I can utilize this is when I go into my preferences again, I'm going to go to File, Preferences. I see I have the secondary geometry tab, and I want to process these. So once I turn those on, I go and create one more base view. I go and pick the orientation, the scale, what arrangement I want. And then you'll notice down here that I have an additional tab here, or parameter, where I can say I want to set secondary geometry. So when I go ahead and, I need to move that back over, I go ahead and place this. What it's going to do is it's going to process anything that I've set as secondary geometry, and it's actually going to turn those kind of a faded color and hidden edge. So I have that kind of reference geometry inside my model as well. And the reason I went and turned this black, and I could go turn these black as well, is because we want to be able to show the color variation a little bit better. Because these were kind of a blue color, and I just wanted to make it a little clearer for you. And just to update my drawings, you know, I can go back through and apply these settings to these other views as well. So. Let that finish processing. You can see, because I have the secondary geometry turned on, I can also have it pull that secondary geometry into any of my other views as well. So just keep that in mind, because I can go in and change that setting, but I want to be able to show everything as far as the secondary geometry. So to recap, took a look at the drawing compare. So the overlay drawings gives us the ability to get in there and really interrogate the draft files. Again, maybe you're a detailer or a drafter, or maybe you're the engineer that has to detail. You want to make sure what changes were done from a previous version of the part. And then we took a look at assembly arrangements. how we can utilize those inside of our model to show our different areas and our different configurations. And then I took that to the next step, showing the secondary geometry that we could also apply inside of our models. So thought these were some of the fine enhancements that NX11 brought out this year. Wanted to make sure I show that. I believe I'll have another NX session possibly coming up in the future, so I may expand on this and dive into some of the other more specific what's new. Maybe we get into some aerospace or get into something a little more specific. But these are our general tools that I showed today that I think most people will be able to utilize. So with that, I am all set with my demo.
All right, great job, Jason. Thank you. And just a reminder to everyone that's on right now, if you have any suggestions for what you'd like Jason to present on with NXCAD in the future, could be something that's been there for a while. It could be something from what's new in NX11. Please let us know. You can reach out to us at any time through our website or give us a call. But more importantly, we have a little survey before you sign off today. It'll just take you about 10 seconds, and you can fill out questions and comments there that we will get in case you weren't able to ask them during the webinar. We will also be sending out the replay link. It will be posted to YouTube today within the next couple of hours, and we'll be sending it out to you in an email as well. But as always, you can check out all of our videos on our YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe so that you're aware of anything else that's been posted. And like I said, we will be here every single Thursday, same time, same place, and you can sign up for future trainings right from our website. So anything we can do for you, just let us know. And thank you all, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you, everyone.